embodies your love nature and your relationship drive. It's also the planet of value, what value you place on all the various parts of yourself, your traits, your gifts, your weaknesses, and your performances. Its placement illustrates what you're curious about and what you hold dear. It's your sensibilities and your desires. Venus oversees who you are, and that's integral to the central plan of the chart, the fulfillment of the sun. When Venus is found in the sign of Leo, the drive for relationship is the drive to make life bigger and more colorful. Remember, this is the sign associated with the on-self consciousness of mid-childhood, a time when most of us are still imaginative and creative. So Venus in Leo is likely to see love and romance as play for adults. This placement has no doubt that life should involve amusement. It's after the creative energy in recreation that buffs their spirit to a shine. A more serious Venus placement, let's say Capricorn, can feel guilty about loafing even for 30 minutes. But the Leonine Venus struggles not at all with that. The inner child sees play as a legitimate, indeed important aspect of life. Play refreshes them, and I think it's the source of their eternal optimism. Remember, Leo is associated with the light-giving sun. It's a never-fluctuating, consistent energy that won't dim even for a day over the next few billion years. There's a desire to provide sunlight to the partner and to bask in the light returned. Therefore, they're prone toward a partner who is beautiful and radiant and bubbly, someone they're proud to have on their arm. Pride is an essential part of the inner dynamics of this placement. This fiery masculine sign likes the adoration of others, the acceptance of an audience. They love the sensation of pride, that fullness in the chest. And because of that, they want a selective mate. They want to win the affections of a person who wouldn't be with just anyone. They want to believe they've earned their lover's affection based on their unique and special personality, their authenticity, and their flair. Within this placement is the need to be different, to be magnified, to be a hero. And they like love to be a quest, at the end of which they vanquish the obstacles and win. It doesn't want a relationship of gray tones, stinginess, and pettiness. It's beneath them. It goes against their dignified sensibilities and their regal aura. In terms of style, Leo likes gold and big clunky jewelry, that magnificent watch, the showy wardrobe, their mane of hair. Beautification is important to this Venus. It's not only a way for Leo to be seen, it's a way to commune with Venus herself. In that mythical land, adorning the body says, I am the special child of the goddess. Often astrology books will say Venus in Leo has expensive taste, but that's not necessarily true. A high price tag is often a byproduct of this placement's self-focus. They take their likes and dislikes very seriously. Their impressions matter. Their preferences are a form of self-expression. The mass market products that come off the conveyor belt at the factory don't measure up, and specialty items tend to cost more. The feminine ideal here is active and confident, as with the other fire Venuses. But Venus in Leo is also attracted to someone who holds the space, holds the stage, holds the audience. Look at who I am. Look at what I've earned. Insecurity is a bad look for this sign because it has a way of being all in about itself. So when they are insecure, it's huge. But if desires and values are undermined in the person's early life, they can end up the cowardly lion from the Wizard of Oz. This placement is terrified to find out they're just the man behind the curtain. You can also find the person who goes into significant debt by always picking up the check or wanting a lavish lifestyle they can't afford because they want the celebrity status, however fleeting. This brings us to theater. Venus in Leo is attracted to plays and dramatic interpretations. It works on resonant tones and the right gesture to go with the right line. It may even come across as auditioning for everything. As Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage. The men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, except every part is one part themselves. You see a strong reaction if someone else takes center stage or slithers into the spotlight or tries to take credit for what Venus in Leo has created. Out of the whole spectrum of human experience, it's given a hyper focus on the self. Even a love relationship is a journey in self-discovery, and they love being in love because it's fun. And when the partner returns that feeling, Leo gets what it's dreamed about. They're flawless in someone's eyes, at least. This placement also values loyalty. This is a trait normally associated with Scorpio, but what motivates Scorp is different. They're drawn to loyalty for the trusting alliance that can be developed. For them, loyalty is strategic. Leo, on the other hand, likes loyalty because it means they're worth that level of devotion. The ego never has to withstand a blow of betrayal, and they don't have to drop down into the negative mortal feelings over what has just happened in their kingdom. Another thing to bring up here is that while this Venus is a masculine outward sign, it isn't always extroverted. In fact, finding out if you're an introvert or an extrovert is one of the first things an astrologer will do in a chart reading, because each planet in each sign has an introverted or extroverted expression. About half of Venuses in Leo are introverted. Some are even shy. But even if they find themselves in great company when they're alone, they still depend on appreciation from others. An introverted Leo will do things in private. They may write or design or invent things with the intention of putting it out in the world for positive feedback, because being loved and having your work loved can be equally satisfying. In one way or another, they like eyes upon them. But back to the shadow, this placement is always at risk of falling into meaningless drama. They can become obsessed with how things look, and because of their imagination, their vision, they can create a grand narrative about how other people are perceiving them. If you're with a Venus in Leo, you may have to deal with a territorial attitude and some childlike behavior. This placement also becomes threatened by a relationship that's overly settled and has lost its spark. But the thing that makes them most insecure is impersonal and indifferent behavior. This placement adds one last thing to the personality, and that is a sensitivity to the morale level in themselves and in the room. Because the amount of drive and certainty people are feeling tells how bright they'll shine and therefore how well things will go. High morale glorifies people and gives Venus in Leo a lot to work with, especially when they're in a position of leadership. When that full heart of theirs is filled with real love and affection, there's a gravity to the personality that garners them esteem. Another spoke toward that hub is that Venus in Leo loves stories. They love the mix of amusement and meaning. Using a story to get a point across helps them to persuade, to be an influence, to be remembered, because that matters. Thank you for watching Secrets from an Astrologer's Desk, Venus in Leo. I'm Joy. More videos to come.